Hey, welcome back to Man 2040 Business Technology Psychology Thinkcast. In the Thinkcast, we talk about business, we talk about technology, and we talk about psychology. And most importantly, we talk about the instrument which you can put in practice, right? Now, today, I'm going to talk about something very, very strategic, how to deliver an optimal client service. Okay. I repeat, how to deliver an optimal client service and how to build effective trusted relationship with C-level executive. So here are these points. First thing is never use the jargon. Maybe you're IT consultant, IT expert. At the time you are interacting with C-level executive, you use a term like Kubernetes containers, distributed cloud, API, and sometimes the C-level executive, those who are the higher level managers, many years of experience, they don't understand these terms. They are very strategic people. And what happens the time they don't understand these terms, they will never ask you because they feel foolish about themselves if they ask for these terms, right? So they will never ask you. And if they don't ask you, what happens? It's bad for you. And you will be not able to deliver the correct message to them. So first point is never use the jargon, correct? Second thing is pause. The time you are presenting technology to C-level executive, you are always little bit, how do you call it? A little bit uh, anxious, and so you start speaking fast. And the time you speak fast, it really convey a message that you are not very sure about yourself and other person, that other C-level executive who's on the other side, he takes it differently. So pause. It cools you down. It makes you less nervous. It makes you more secure. And there's other psychology behind pausing it. It shifts the balance of power. Because the time you pause, it creates that uncertainty and it shifts the power in your favor, right? So you balance that power gap between you and C-level executive who is more powerful than you, who is the client in your favor. So pause. It shows your expertise. It shows your competence. It shows your maturity. So pause. Third is get advice to client which is against your interest. It could seem a bit counterintuitive, counterproductive, but give that advice to a client which is against your interest. And so let's suppose a client asks you for a technology which you don't have. You ask the client, yes, Mr. Client, we don't have this technology, but I can recommend some of my competitor who are better than us in this particular technology. At the time you talk like this, client takes it differently. Client it developed the trust. Client feels that the person with whom I'm talking, he is my well-wisher. He's not a person who just want to favor, who just want to tell me what he has, but he's really interested in my growth. So give advice to the client sometime which is against your own interest, right? Now, fourth point is ask open-ended question. The time you're talking with C-level executive, ask open-ended question. An open-ended question could be something like, not like, Mr. Client, are you worried about the competitors? No, don't ask this question. Maybe answer will be yes or no. Ask what worry you about the business? What worry you about the business? What's your strategy for digital transformation 10 years from now? Are you considering metaverse as a business strategy for future? So ask open-ended question. So the time you ask open-ended question, it gives the opportunity to client to talk. And psychologists say that people are always interested to talk about themselves. They really enjoy to talk about themselves, about their experience. And it helps you to collect as much as data possible from that particular client. So ask open-ended questions. Be positive. Always be positive. Maybe you had a horrible day. Maybe you don't feel happy. Maybe you fought with your wife in the morning. The time you are talking with that C-level executive, and he asks you how are you, to say, yes, great. What about you? How's everything? So because people want to talk with someone who's always upbeat. People want to talk with someone who's always positive, who transfer that positive energy in other person. And these big people, the C-level executive, they are very much sometimes angry, sometimes stressed, sometimes anxious. So if you give them that positive energy, it builds that trust. Now, next advice: never mix your professional activity with the social activity. What does that mean? Maybe there is a research from Goldman Sachs which I read a few days ago, and they said that they have make an analysis of new associates, those who joined the company, and they forecasted that these are the 10 top-notch associates who will do great in their life because they have some sales skills, they have communication skills. Some of them they played golf, tennis, etc. So they have some of them have some cultural knowledge, some social skills, etc. And what happened actually after 5 years, the time they reviewed the list, they was deadly wrong. Nothing really worked, right? So that means the people those who had these another sales skills, they were either fired or they were not inside the company. So it gives the reflection that don't mix your professional activity with a social activity. What does that mean? That means that if you are a great golfer or you are a great tennis player and you take the client to a top-notch best restaurant, that doesn't necessarily mean that client will trust you. Clients want to talk to the person who's smart and who work hard. Full stop. So work hard and be smart. Don't mix your personal activity, social activity with a professional activity. So that's the one of the rule, one of the experience of one of the managers from Goldman Sachs. Now, other point is be humble. Always be humble. These big C-level executives, they are always busy, always anxious, always worried about the future. Will be humble. You need to understand their position. You ask them a question that, hey, listen, I can understand how complex and how important this implementation is for you and also for your family because your entire career is on stake. So be humble. Like try to understand. Try to put your feet inside their shoes and allow this to work. So be humble. That's the point. Now, be responsive. What does that mean? Be responsive means, this is especially true in the beginning of the relationship. Be responsible means the time you are building the relationship and talk to a client. Yes, I'm there for you. We are doing this implementation, and I take 100% responsibility for that. Everything goes seamlessly well. If there's any problem, call me anytime, 24/7. And even if they call you, even if you don't have an answer, just reply that I have understood your question and I will work on it. Right. So that's that type of attitude I want to see in people, in professionals. So be responsible. Now take a position. What does that mean? Take a position. Point number 9 is take a position. Take a position means give that advice and be firm about it. You can tell the client, hey, Mr. Client, we are going to do this, and there are 3 alternatives, A, B, and C. And show your subject matter expertise, because the time you're presenting yourself as subject matter expert, and you take a position that according to my experience, according to my knowledge, these are the 3 alternatives which you can implement in the project. Now it's up to you which one could be, as we can talk together. We can together evaluate which one could be the best option, right? So take a position, don't leave it haywire. Take the position and show your subject matter expertise. Now, point number 10, control the meeting. What does that mean? The time you are in the meeting with a client, there are many people, and the discussion become a little bit haywire. You track everyone try to pull the discussion in their favor, maybe which this is not relevant with the topic which you want to talk about. These C-level executives, they have less time. So control the meeting. If someone asks you some question which is not very relevant to that particular topic, say, hey, listen, this is a great point, but I will answer that in 10 minutes. Maybe next time other person asks a different question which is not relevant to that meeting, ask him, it's a great question, but hold it up and I will answer that next time. Okay. So control the meeting. That's your meeting. If you control the meeting, you will have time. You will cover all those points which you want to discuss with the client. Client will be happy. You will be happy. Otherwise, you will not get the time. You'll be dragged left or right. Right. Last point is have an agenda. The time you walk into the meeting with C-level executive, have an agenda. And before the meeting, talk about agenda. Hey, Mr. Client, these are the points we're going to talk about. In the first 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about introduction. Second 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about these points. And third 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about these strategic actions which you can put in practice. So, and if it's not okay with you, just tell me yes or no. If you want to remove these points from my agenda, that's perfectly all right. But it's important that we agree upon this agenda for this particular meeting. So have the agenda, right? And after the meeting, once the meeting is over, thereafter, do the recap, and do that recap in writing. Point number 8, we said that we will send you the proposal on this particular date. Point number 2, we said that we will do the follow-up of this particular progress after a few days. Point number C, we said that we'll do something like this. Point number C, that you will receive a complete documentation from our site within 24 hours of this meeting. So do this all recap after the meeting. So let's do the recap. How to make that optimal, the C-level engagement and relationship building. How to do that. First is never use the jargon. Second is pause. Third is give the advice which is against your own interest. Fourth one is ask a client open-ended question. Fifth one, be positive. Sixth is never mix your professional activity with your social activities. Seventh one is be humble. Eighth one, be responsible. Ninth one is take a position. 10th is control the meeting. And 11th is have an agenda. Thank you very much.